right, happy Wednesday. So today, here are the 3 things we're going to do. So you're going to do some math on a really fun thing called function machine, and I love function machine. It's kind of like a fun game, I think, and fun to figure out. So I have a video on function machine that you're going to need to watch, and then Mrs. Vanderkamp is going to make a video on to help you with page 148 and 149. Okay, and you're going to work on that with Mrs. Vanderkamp. So make sure that you watch those 2 videos. The first one about function machine, and then the second one with, and that's with me, and then the second one with Mrs. Vanderkamp. Okay, and then take a picture of those pages and send them to us so that we can see your work. Okay. Then the other things that we're going to do today is we have new word wall words. So they're let's see what they are. So some of them you can use Chunky Monkey for. So, all right, we know that this is the word all, and if I add a b to it, it's going to be ball, right? So there's the word ball, and here, let's do that. Then we have the word, ooh, I know that the ER makes the sound, and this would be ever, and if I add a n, it's going to be never, never. Good job. All right, then we have, ooh, I know this word. We've had that one. Remember the OU says ow, out, out. And if I add the sh, it's going to be shout. Good job. All right, now this one looks similar. It starts the same, but it's not showled. Okay, that is not how it is. Do not do it that way. All right, remember we had would and could that were like this? So this is should. All right, so this is our word should. It's one that you will just have to memorize because it doesn't follow the rules. All right, and this is a good one for, our last one is a good one for the body. And this is the word head. And I know it has the EA vowel team, which should say heed, but it does not. Again, it doesn't follow the rules. That's why it's one of our word wall words. We just have to memorize it. So this is our word head. All right, so let's see if I go through them. If you can read them, I'm going to mix them up. All right. All right, what's this? What's this one? Should. Head. See if you can get it before me. Never. Ball. Did you beat me? Shout. All right, Mrs. Vanderkamp and I put in your little baggie that we sent with you. It's the one that had the fasteners that you used for doing the, for putting your skeleton together. There were some papers in there, little cards. You're gonna write each word on one of those cards. So there's 5 words, so you're going to write each word 2 times for 10 cards, right? 5 and 5 is 10, right? Then what I want you to do with those is I want you to play memory, all right? So I want you to put your cards down, facing down in rows, and then you can play it with somebody else at your house if they want to. Otherwise, just play it on your own and see how quickly you can find all the matches. So you flip over 2 and read the word out loud. Don't just look at it. That's not going to help your brain remember it, right? Read the word out loud, then flip it back over, and then pick 2 other ones. And if you get the match, then you can keep it out, okay? So if you finish that, you can also play Go Fish with that too, with those sets. So if you have somebody that wants to play Go Fish, but again, make sure you're reading the words because that's how our brain's going to know them. You don't have these cards with you, but you do have this blue paper. And if you look down here, the last line, these are our word wall words from last time, and then these are our new ones here. So they're on this blue paper, so you can copy them down and read them, okay? Also, I want to remind you to play practicing your spelling words. All right, so make sure that you are practicing these because we will do a test on Friday. So we're going to do it online. I'll tell you more about that on Friday. But we are going to do a test on these, so make sure you are practicing them just like you would if you were really right here with us in the building. All right. And, oh, good thing we wrote this down. I almost forgot. We also have your Wednesday book, and you should have a book in your bag, and I can't remember the name of it right now, so Mrs. Vanderkamp's going to help me out, but you're going to read it, and you can take the AR test on it. Okay, Zoom. You might have the word book Zoom, or, oh yeah, push and pull. So these are all about how things move this week. So Zoom might remind you a little bit of the Ben Franklin story of how he watched the sailboats move. That might remind you of that when we were in our treasures book. And then push and pull, obviously, are two different ways you can move something. So you're going to take an AR test on those books and write it in your AR log. And then you don't have to send us anything because Mrs. Vanderkamp and I can log on to AR and we can see how you did on the test, okay? And then the last thing is our Bible story. I get to do this with you. So we're just going to do this right here. So the Bible story today is a kind of a sad one because it's Saul's final battle. So this is, David, remember, had to run away from Saul, right? He was being hunted. We played the hot and cold game and things to do that. We also sent you the video of when David was hiding in that cave and Saul came in and David cut part of his robe off and then he came to Saul and he said, how come you didn't kill? Saul was surprised. Why didn't you kill me when you had a chance? But David said, I wouldn't kill God's anointed. God made you king. And until God says it's not time anymore, I'm not going to kill you, even though you're trying to kill me. Now, Saul realized, he said, oh, good, thank you, David. You're a better man than I am. And he kind of said, I won't try to kill you anymore. Well, so David came back and lived in the palace for a while, but then Saul changed his mind. And he got angry again, and he decided he did want to kill David. So David had to run. So I'm going to, remember we like to do this, at least in my class. So we have the Sea of Galilee up here. Got the Jordan River coming down. Got the Dead Sea over here. This is the Mediterranean Sea. Right, we have the mountains here. Right, and Jerusalem is kind of about here. It's in the mountains. Bethlehem's kind of over here. But Saul was living over here. And this area here, remember by the sea? Do you remember who lived there? Philistines, right? They were the ones that lived by the sea. That's why they had that, their god Dagon, remember, was part fish, part person. Well, the Philistines, David had to run and run and run, and finally, the only place he was safe, this is going to sound crazy, but he ended up living with the Philistines. So David ended up making, and some of his men that came with him, some that fought with him, he ended up making his house here with the Philistines. And the king Achish of the Philistines said, you can live here as long as you help us fight against our enemies. So David said, okay, I won't cause you any trouble if I live here. My men and I will live here, and we'll help you fight against our enemies, but we will not fight against Israel. I will not fight against God's people. So Achish agreed. He said, okay, fine. So David lived there for a while, and Saul couldn't get to him because, of course, they're enemies, right? The Philistines are enemies, and King Saul couldn't get to him. So David was safe living there for a while. So he lived there for a while, and he helped the Philistines fight against some of the other peoples that were enemies. But it came time where the Philistines were going to fight against the Israelites. And King Achish said, David, I changed my mind. You do need to fight. You're living here, and we're letting you have our food and all this. You need to fight against the Israelites with us. Now, David, he didn't know what to do. He said, no, I can't do that. But King Achish said, yeah, you have to do that. So David was kind of in a tough spot. And so finally, the other Philistines in the army said, King, we don't want David fighting with us against the Israelites, because what if he changes his mind and he turns on us and he decides to fight for the Israelites instead and kill us? So King Achish said, yeah, that's a good point. Okay, David, you don't have to fight against the Israelites. So David didn't have to worry about that. So David and his men stayed home while the Philistines fought against the Israelites. And they had their battle together, and the Israelites lost. Now, King Saul and Prince Jonathan were in that battle, and a couple other of Saul's sons actually were on that one too. And Prince Jonathan died in the battle, and a couple of other of Saul's sons died in the battle too. And then King Saul saw that, and he saw they were losing, and he saw his sons had been killed, and he fell on his own sword and died in the battle too. So King Saul and Prince Jonathan and 2 other princes all died in that battle against the Philistines. It was very sad. And then David was kind of waiting for news about that battle. And it took 3 days. Finally, somebody from the battlefield came, and he came to David, and he said, David, guess what? King Saul is dead, and Prince Jonathan is dead, and the other 2 princes, and you are going to be king. Hooray! And David said, that is not good news. He actually said, Prince Jonathan was my very best friend, and King Saul was the king of Israel who got anointed. That's sad. Even though King Saul had been hunting David, David forgave him, right? He didn't have any anger in his heart towards King Saul. And David actually kind of ripped his clothes, and he took off his good ones, and he put on these scratchy clothes, and he took coal and dust, and he put black all over his face to show and so it was dirty, and he was sad, and he sat and he cried. And there's a word for that when you cry really hard when you miss somebody. It's called mourning. So he mourned for David, or for Saul, and David was so sad, and he mourned for days, and then finally he ended up then washing off and going back and living back in Israel, and we'll talk more about that story later. There is a paper you're going to do. It's this gold one. It looks like this. And it said cut out the faces and things, but we didn't do that. So what you're going to actually do is you're going to make an X where it's true. So, for example, he became a king. So is that true of Saul? Yes. You're going to X it. Is that true of David? It's going to be, right? So you can X that too, that he became a king. All right, number 2, he was a soldier. Was Saul a soldier? Sure was. That's why we got killed in the battle, right? Was David a soldier too? Sure was. He killed Goliath and he fought. So those are going to be true for both of them. So you're going to go through the rest of these and take a picture of it and send it to Mrs. Vanderkamp and I when you're done. Thanks.